There's something seriously wrong with my family's new home. I knew something was off the moment I saw the place. It was tall and old, nestled into an evergreen wood at the end of a long lane, separate from the rest of the community. I was only 17, but I knew we couldn't afford it. "It was a steal," my mom chirped. My dad chuckled. "Smelly gold, that is." The sour reek that permeated the house was the main reason we got such a discount. My younger sister, Lena, didn't care. She was just excited to have her own room. She couldn't have known she'd soon come to regret ever wanting to sleep alone. The dogs were the first to notice. They'd run barking all day, but at night, they'd growl at the house as it moaned in the wind. That was fine. We figured they just needed to adjust. Then my 4-year-old brother Kai started talking to himself. My mom finally asked him about it. "Kai, sweetie, who are you talking to?" Kai looked up from his blocks. "My friend." My mother shot a strange glance at my dad. "Who's your friend, Kai?" He shrugged. "I don't know." My parents decided it was just an imaginary friend. We carried on. A week later, our dog, Miss Bear, was sleeping at the foot of my bed when she started growling. Not at the door, but at the wall, the one shared with Kai. "Enough!" I hissed. She looked at me, then back at the wall and barked. Abruptly, she yelped, backing away with her tail between her legs. Her sudden fear was infectious. I jumped out of bed and followed her into my brother's room. Kai was awake. He was sitting on his bed, facing our shared wall. "It's okay," he said to the dog. "It was just my friend." The next day, I looked at that wall. There was a dresser pushed against it and an air intake vent at its base. I shoved the dresser aside. Just above the baseboards, there was a stain. Old and brown, but it might have once been red, dribbling down the wall. I sniffed it, the same sourness that filled the house. That night, my sister's shrill shriek sent my heart into my throat. I was the first one in her room. She was sitting up, back against the wall, staring at the corner beyond me. She whispered, "Tss, someone, behind you." I was petrified. Slowly, I turned around. In the darkness, I thought I saw it. A woman or a girl, undressed and bloodstained, faceless, but for the shine of 2 piercing irises. I screamed. My father snapped the light on. The figure was gone. But in the corner where it stood, I saw it. Old, brown stains, just like the ones behind my dresser. My mom joined us, and the look she shared with my dad sent ice down my spine. That look scared me more than the thing in the shadows. "There's nothing," my dad announced. "It's just an old house." Lena slept in my room that night. As I lay there, I thought I heard Kai next door whispering to his friend. The false normalcy broke the next day. Kai approached my mother in the kitchen. "Mom? Yes, hun? Can we go back to our old house?" My mother looked worried. "Why, sweetie?" "I don't want to talk to him anymore," Kai whispered. A horror passed over my mother's face. My father bowed his head. "Damn it," he muttered. "Have a say about what?" I demanded, rushing in. My dad sighed. "Ari, we weren't totally honest. The smell isn't the only reason we could afford this house." My mom spoke as if the words hurt. "Something happened to the family who used to live here. Something awful." The blood-stained girl flashed in my mind. "I'll be blunt," my father continued. "The family who last lived here, they were killed. Right here in this house. The father, he was the one who killed him, after which he killed himself." I sank into a chair. "And you bought this house anyway?" "No," my father rebuked. "There's nothing wrong with this house. It's just creepy." The peace was broken a week later by my brother's crying. I found him on the floor of his room. "What's wrong, Kai?" "He came back." My stomach sank. "Who came back?" "My friend, the scary man." "I thought he was your friend." No, 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 Kai whimpered. He's bad. Swallowing, I asked, where did you see him? His hand shaking, Kai pointed at our shared wall. That night, he slept in my room. Close the door, I told him, or the dogs will be licking our feet tonight. He dozed off. I turned off the lamp and went to sleep. A few hours later, I was in a half-sleep when I felt one of the dogs sniffing my foot. Then it started licking. Stop, I moaned, giggling at the tickle. Cut it out! Go! The dog panted, then stepped away. As I drifted back to sleep, I remembered. I had asked Kai to close the door. I sat up. My heart hammered. The door was closed. I swung my legs off the bed. Chiefy? Miss Bear? No response. No dog. I lifted my foot. It was damp. Sweat, I told myself. It was just a weird dream. I got back into bed, frustrated, trying to ignore the figure of the blood-stained girl I now saw in the shadows every night. The turning point came during a walk. One of the neighbors was by his mailbox, staring. I'd had enough. What is your deal? I called out. He fidgeted. We just wonder what sort of folks would want to buy a house like that. The sort who aren't taken by superstition, I snapped. We know what happened. The father killed his family and then himself. It's horrible, but it's no reason to pass up a deal. The man's eyes went wide. The father? He whispered. He looked over my shoulder at my house. You don't know. I don't know what. The truth is, the man said, the wife and the 2 children were butchered, and the father was never found. My blood ran cold. Bastard got away, the man continued. No one knows where he went. Sometimes, though, our cameras catch footage of what looks like a ragged man ambling around in the dark. I looked at my house. My parents were out. Kai and Lena were home alone. I have to go, I cried. I burst through the front door, grabbed my siblings, and led them to Kai's room. Show me where the scary man was. My stomach turned to acid. He wasn't pointing at the wall. He was pointing at the vent. I lurched toward it and pulled. It didn't budge. I pushed hard. A groan passed through the wall and a square section gave way. Cobwebs puffed out. It wasn't a solid wall. It was a crawl space. The sour reek hit me like a fist. Stay here, I told them, and crawled inside. I shimmied along until I was behind the vent in my own room. I pushed, and it gave way. Peering out, the first thing I saw was the foot of my bed, right where my feet poked out when I slept. A sighing, humming sound carried from the far end of the crawl space. My heart hammered. I twisted my head. In the shadows, I could just make out a corner where the space turned. The sound became an excited, rolling laugh. I leaned forward and saw it. Half a face peeking from the corner. One bloodshot eye, pallid, withered skin. A twisting, unnatural grin of rotten teeth. A scraggly, bony hand clutching the wall. The creature laughed again. I screeched and threw myself back into Kai's room, grabbed my siblings, and ran. The horrible laughing chased us, and I swear I heard scurrying footsteps in our wake. We ran to the neighbors and called the police. When they arrived, my father was frantic. We didn't know, Ari, I swear. The realtor told us they all died. Well, they didn't, I snapped. I saw him. A policeman approached us, his face grim. Whoever your daughter saw is gone. The house is empty. That said, you'll want to see this. He led my dad and me to an opening on the main floor. The passages here were wider. Moist dirt squelched underfoot. Finally, I understood why our floors were always so muddy. The spaces led to a cave dug out beneath the house. It was filled with used-up cans of soup and rotting bits of food. I finally understood why our groceries ran out so fast. And the sour reek. It was overwhelming. The father who had slain his family had lived on in our walls, leeching off of us, tormenting us. We moved out immediately, not just to a new house, but a new city. But the man was never found. He is still on the loose. We try to lead a normal life, but I can't. I still wake up at least 3 times a week, with the awful, distinct sense that something has been licking my feet. There's one in every family. Ours is Uncle Hank. He shows up to Thanksgiving ranting about the fake moon landing and weather manipulation. But the last time, it got bad. Hank had too much to drink and wouldn't stop. "The government's cooking up another virus," he shouted. "It'll make Ebola look like the flu." His tirade made Grandma sob. My dad leapt up, furious. "Enough!" He escorted Hank outside and slammed the door. I didn't see him for a few years after that. Then, my girlfriend Vanessa and I were driving an isolated back road when our car shuddered violently and died. Smoke billowed from the hood. I called the tow truck company. They couldn't be there until the next day. "Looks like we're stuck here," I said. Vanessa shivered. "Do you know anyone here?" I frowned. "Yeah," I said. "I know someone." An hour later, Uncle Hank's truck appeared. He pulled up, stepped out in his cowboy boots, and gave me a rib-breaking bear hug. "This is Vanessa," I said. "Thanks for saving us." "My pleasure," he said. "It's what anyone would do for family." "Well, mechanic will have to sort this. Why don't you stay over at my place? I'll drive you to the shop in the morning." We were in his truck cab for about 5 minutes when he cleared his throat. "So, where'd you two meet?" "University," I said. "Ah." He leaned over, making eye contact with Vanessa. "Universities are for brainwashing. Lizard people use them as tools for indoctrination." Vanessa just nodded. 30 minutes later, we were at his place, a small building in the back end of nowhere. "Come on in," he said, holding the door. "Don't break anything or I'll murder you." Vanessa and I glanced at each other. "Just kidding." He pointed down the hall. "You lovebirds can take the guest room. Bathroom's there. My bedroom's around the corner." He paused, his face suddenly serious. "If you hear any strange noises, don't come looking for me. Good night." He disappeared around the corner. A door closed. I helped Vanessa with our bags. It was one night. How bad could it be? A few hours later, I flopped into bed next to her. Sometime later, God only knows when, I felt someone stir me awake. It was Vanessa. "Tom, what?" I sat up, rubbing the grogginess from my eyes. "It's your uncle." I heard a loud moan come from the hall, desperate, pleading, like someone was having a violent seizure. I sat up and listened. Another agonizing squeal erupted from his bedroom, like a person was being eaten alive. "What the hell is that?" Vanessa said. "I don't know." Another painful groan. "Is your uncle okay?" "I'm sure he is." "It sounds like he's dying." The screams grew louder. Then a gasp of pain, almost sob-like. "Oh my God, Tom, do something. He told us to leave him alone. Just make sure he's all right." The groans turned into a series of belly-wrenching screams. I ventured out of the room. "Ah, God, help me, help!" It was Uncle Hank, wailing in misery. I raced to his bedroom door and pounded on it. "Uncle Hank? What's going on in there?" Another loud scream. I twisted the knob. It was locked. "God, no, help me! Ah, I'm coming in." I backed up and slammed my shoulder into the door. Bang, then again. Bang. Finally, I broke through. Uncle Hank's bedroom was dark except for a sliver of moonlight. He was sitting on the edge of his bed, gasping. And something small, no bigger than a bulldog, was sitting on his shoulders, whispering into his ears. "No, please, I can't take any more," Hank begged. The shape's voice sounded eerie and soft, almost seductive. I couldn't tell what it was saying. "Please, no more." My voice slipped out before I could stop it. "Uncle Hank, are you all right?" Uncle Hank turned. His voice was cold, menacing. I told you not to come in. He leapt off his bed and dashed toward me. He grabbed my arm, slapped a sweaty palm over my lips, and pinned me against the wall. You should have listened to me, Tommy. I nodded, begging to be let go. The weird shape was still on his shoulders, whispering. It was so dark, but I could see its glowing yellow eyes. And the smell. I can't even describe it. You must not tell anyone what you've seen, Uncle Hank said. I was so scared I just nodded again. Sweat poured down my face. He removed his hand. Go to bed, Tommy. I staggered back into our bedroom and shut the door. Vanessa stared at me from the bed, white-knuckling the comforter. What happened? I can't tell you. Why won't you tell me? Trust me, I can't. I sank into the sheets, delirious. Needless to say, I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, I could hear Uncle Hank whistling. 5 minutes later, he knocked. You kids want something to eat? We were already packed. No thanks. All right, come on out when you're ready and I'll drive you over. Not long after, he shuttled us to the shop. After I finished talking with the mechanic, Uncle Hank pulled me aside. Now listen, Tommy, about last night. It's okay. We don't need to talk about it. No. I need to apologize. You see, I've got this cat. A cat? Sometimes when I get scared, it comes to me and sits on my shoulder. It tells me things to comfort me. Last night, it was telling me about my past. His voice drifted away as my mind blocked out his words. Anyway, he slapped my shoulder. I'm sorry for overreacting. Let's keep this between us, all right? Okay, Uncle Hank. He hiked back to his truck, waving to Vanessa. Take care of my nephew. Will do. She waved, grateful to see him go. Uncle Hank got in his truck and merged onto the road. Vanessa frowned. You're still not going to tell me what happened? I just shrugged. How could I? I didn't even know. My eyes glanced back at Uncle Hank's truck as it shrank in the distance. In the rear window, I could barely make it out. A small, bulldog-sized creature perched upon his shoulders. Its yellow eyes focused on me. I had no idea what it was, but I knew this. It sure as hell wasn't a cat. When I was 10, my grandma came to live with us. I loved her stories, but her scary ones were my favorite. She'd shut off the lights in my room, shuffle in close enough that I could smell the sweets on her breath, and stare straight into my eyes. She said she dabbled in the occult, Ouija boards, tarot cards. Most stories I'd forget. But one stuck with me. The story about the shower and Mr. Longfingers. Grandma loved her baths. She'd spend ages in them with candles and incense until the water turned cold. When I asked why, she said it was the only place she could relax, the only place that was safe. People like me, who are sensitive to certain things, she told me, her blue eyes unsmiling. We have to have baths. I couldn't possibly spend that long in the shower. It's far too risky. I pulled the covers to my chin. Why is it risky, Grandma? It's only risky if you close your eyes, she said. If you close your eyes for longer than 10 seconds. What do you mean? I asked. Why? It's Mr. Longfingers, she said. A cold itch tickled my back. Who's Mr. Longfingers, Grandma? She lowered her voice. No one knows exactly, she whispered. Some think it's a creature. Others a demon that finds a way in through the steam. No one can say for sure because the only ones who have seen Mr. Longfingers, they aren't ever going to tell you. Why not? I breathed. Grandma leaned in. Don't you worry. As long as you remember the rules, you'll be fine. What rules? When you're in the shower, you try not to close your eyes for too long. 5 seconds is fine, and 10 is just about okay too. But any longer than that, you may just start to feel something in the room with you. Something watching. And if you ever go longer than 15 seconds, That's when you might hear a noise too. Hear what? The soft tap, tap, tap of fingers on glass, fingers drumming against the glass door of the shower. If you do ever hear that noise, God forbid, promise me you'll never open your eyes. I barely slept that week. Every time I closed my eyes, I had nightmares of long fingers reaching for my skin. But the shower was the worst. I'd be standing under the water, shampoo running down my face, and as soon as my eyelids closed, I'd hear her words. 5 seconds is fine. 10 is okay. I'd scrub my hair, counting the seconds, and the moment I passed 5, I'd feel it. A sort of pressure. A feeling of being watched. The ready blackness behind my eyes felt like a held breath. I'd frantically rinse, so desperate to open my eyes I'd do it too early, stinging them with shampoo. But before I shut them again, I'd always peer through the steamed glass, just to make sure I was still alone. I was the one who found her. I woke early one morning to a heavy thumping sound, followed by the muffled rush of the shower. I ran down the hall and banged on the bathroom door, shouting for Grandma. I was dimly aware of my parents' sleepy voices, but I'd already twisted the handle. The door wasn't locked. It swung open into a wall of steam. And before my dad could pull me away, before the shouting and the chaos began, I saw her. She was lying on the floor of the shower cubicle, water beating down on her. Her eyes were wide and bulging. One hand was curled against her chest, but the other was pressed against the glass. She had carved frantic finger marks through the steam. They were still fresh. It was a heart attack. That's what my dad told me. He said she wouldn't have suffered. Even as a 10-year-old kid, I knew better. And years later, I still know better. I know my wife and kids resent me for refusing to have a shower in the house, for insisting everyone take baths. My wife thinks she understands. She thinks I still carry the trauma of finding my grandmother. I guess she's right, in a way, but she doesn't know the full truth. Nobody does. No one would believe me if I told them the real reason I haven't taken a shower since I was 10. It isn't because I'm scarred from the sight of a dead body. It's because after the paramedics had taken Grandma away, I crept back into that still hot bathroom. I checked the marks her fingers had carved through the steamed glass. And those marks? They weren't just on the inside.